Sykkuno isn't speaking. Okay. That must be Ray right in there. You guys think I look great? I honestly think I look like crap. Oh my God, that's awesome. That is so awesome.
This is all I've got.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
You look Pokey. This is iconic.
Should I do the whole interview?
You should. Hey, wait. Yes. Do you think he's a? Has anybody asked him? Is he aware of that meme?
That's what I need to know.
We need to know.
He'll either look at it and be like, "Oh, giggle, giggle. I know what
Right.
this is about," or he'll look at
Right.
it and be like, "Is this lady insane?"
Yeah, because
Either
like
way,
this is
I'm making a
like
first impression. You know the
I don't
vibes?
know. I don't know if this is like. Is this like a more of a Twitch centric meme, or has it just gone everywhere?
Oh no, this is mainstream as
This is
heck.
mainstream. Okay, it's
Yeah.
mainstream. Got you. Okay, he's promoted the. Okay, got
Someone
you.
said
That's
he posted
iconic.
it before, but maybe that was an assistant, you know, like maybe he
Okay, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, maybe. No, I'm super excited to talk to him. The chat is eager to talk to him. Um,
Likewise.
and hey, look, and I'm eager to talk about things that are extremely important in this election. I'm very excited. I mean, it's no secret who I'm supporting, who we're supporting rather. Um, but
I'm so excited to talk about it all, and I'm so excited
yes.
once again to be asking for your financial aid. That's the amount of
Oh
work.
I
yeah.
know that meme.
Uh, this is. I wonder if Bernie's met a VTuber before.
I wonder
hope
if
not,
Bernie
because
knows
I put in
Nasty
my
Girl.
title, World First Bernie Meets His Favorite VTuber.
So this is a
That's
world's
cute.
first.
That's
Maybe.
really cute.
I mean, it's honestly just because of my skin condition. So, but
Yeah, no, it's totally
out
fine.
of sheer coincidence, world first, guys.
Yep.
I think, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what, Sykkuno? Let's just say it's the world's first.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Let's just say it's the
Where's Ray?
world's first.
Imagine there's no Bernie, it's just me dressed as Yeah, this is what you guys
Wow,
are showing
people
up
would
for.
be
Sorry,
upset.
chat. Sorry, chat.
Hey guys,
All
I have
right,
a question.
all right,
Do you guys all
folks.
mirror your cameras?
All right.
I didn't know that I did until today.
I think some random programs just have it on default. It's kind of crazy.
Huh.
Okay, guys, look.
Oh.
Ladies
Yeah?
and gentlemen, I am just getting word that Bernie Sanders is ready for us. All right.
What?
Oh my god.
So
We
I'd
didn't
like
talk
to
about anything.
Chat,
No, I
do I
don't.
keep
Well,
this up?
so
Do I keep this on?
I'd like to formally introduce, my colleagues, my favorite streamers in the whole industry. We've got Pokimane, we've got Sykkuno, we've got Valkyrie, and we are here to speak with Bernie. We're going to have an opportunity to ask him some questions. He's going to speak a little bit first, and we're all looking very much forward to it. We're also here to encourage you to vote. You can do so by typing exclamation point vote in
Please
all
vote.
of our chats. It'll redirect you to a page where you can check the status of your voting. We all encourage you to get out and vote. Obviously, we know who I'm voting for, Kamala Harris. We're here to support the Harris Waltz ticket. And this is a great cause, and we're very excited to introduce Bernie Sanders, which I think he's ready. So I'm going to bring him in, and we're going to begin our conversation with Bernie Sanders. Just give me a second. I believe, let's see here. Once he gets his camera on, showing that he's muted right now. Hey, Senator Sanders, how are you?
All right. Good.
How are you, Senators? Good. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on here live on Twitch. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Austin Show. I'm a Twitch streamer. You guys want to introduce yourself? Pokey, Sykkuno?
Mr. Sanders, my name's Pokey. So nice to meet you. I'm a big fan, as you can tell.
Thank you very much.
And
hello,
go
Mr.
ahead,
Sanders.
Sykkuno.
I'm Sykkuno. Normally, I have a regular camera, but I have a skin condition, so I'm using this avatar. Do you know what a VTuber is?
Okay.
Have you heard of a VTuber before?
Nope.
No.
No?
That's
I'm
all right.
the first one.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Thank you
Senator
so much
Sanders
for supporting VTubers.
It's when they have this animated profile or icon.
That's me.
Mhm.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's believe me,
You're looking
I
I'm so
good.
understand.
sorry.
Yeah,
Looking
it's
very
looking good. Yeah, Senator Sanders,
Thank you, thank you.
it's a pleasure to have you on here again. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk about very important issues. And I'd like to give you the floor. I understand you'd like to say some things to get us started.
Well, first of all, thanks very much for organizing this live stream. Bottom line is, this is the most consequential election in our lifetimes in the history of the United States. In my view, simply stated, Donald Trump is not fit to be president of the United States. This is a guy who lies all of the time. He's vulgar. You may have heard just the other day, he decided that one of the most important issues facing this country is the size of the late Arnold Palmer's penis. And that's, that would seem to me to disqualify him right away, but it goes a lot deeper than that. You have a guy, as I hope everybody understands, really does not believe in democracy. What democracy is about is you can disagree with me. You can vote against me. Then we have an election. And if I lose, I congratulate you. If you lose, you congratulate me. We have a peaceful transition of power. That's called American democracy. For the first time in the history of the United States, our long and extraordinary history, we had a guy who said, I'm not going to leave power. I lost the election, but I'm not going to leave. He fomented an insurrection to try to overturn the results of the 2020 election. So I think if no other reason, for no other reason, the fact that this guy's a pathological liar and that he does not believe in democracy is reason enough to make sure that he does not win this election. But there are many other reasons. I know that many young people are terribly concerned about climate change, as they should be. We see with our own eyes what's happened recently in Florida, in North Carolina, the terrible forest fires that we had in California, in Canada, the heat waves in Europe, massive flooding in China. On and on it goes. Every scientist who has studied the issue understands that climate change is real. Austin, do you know what Donald Trump's view is on climate change?
Well, Senator Sanders, I've heard him talk about it, and he mentioned, I think at one point, he said it would create more oceanfront property in Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's that sums up his view. Yeah,
his view
it's
is
fake.
that it is a hoax.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
fake.
warn everybody, a hoax created in China. All right, not only is that incredibly stupid, not only is that in defiance of what the entire scientific community believes, it's worse than that. Because let's be clear, if he is elected, the struggle against climate change is over and we lose. Because if the United States withdraws from trying to transform our energy system, China will do the same, Europe will do the same, every other major country on earth will say, hey, the largest economy in the world, America, has given up, we give up too. And I tell you, with fear, I have 4 kids, 7 grandchildren. I worry very, very deeply what kind of planet you and your kids will be inheriting if Trump gets elected and we give up the struggle to transform our energy system and lose the fight against climate change. And then there's another issue. I mean, all of you know that since the inception of the United States of America back in the 1780s, women have been struggling for first-class citizenship. It wasn't until 1920, that women had the right to vote in national elections. Women 40, 50 years ago could not do the job. They wanted to be a construction worker, unheard of. You wanted to be a police officer, unheard of. You wanted to be an engineer, that's not what women did. But women and their male allies struggled and fought to break down barrier after barrier, and we have had some real success. I can remember, a few decades ago, not so long ago, there are 100 people in the US Senate. 98 of them were men, 2 were women. But we have struggled to open up the political process, the economic process. Women have made huge gains. And the most significant gain that women have made, and I hope the men understand this, the most significant victory they have won is to be able to control their own bodies. And then you have Donald Trump proudly telling the world that he appointed 3 right-wing Supreme Court justices who helped overturn Roe v. Wade and take away a woman's constitutional right to control her own body. So to me, this is a no-brainer campaign. You know, and Trump has got to be defeated and Kamala has got to be elected. You know, what the political scientists tell us is that the younger generation is the most progressive generation probably in the history of younger generation in the history of this country. It has led the fight against racism, against sexism, against homophobia, led the fight to transform our energy system, take on climate change. That's what this younger generation has done. But there's something else about this younger generation. They vote in significantly lower numbers than older people do. So all I would say is if you are concerned about democracy, if you're concerned about women's rights, if you're concerned about climate change, if you're concerned about economic justice and the need to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, the need to get big money out of politics, the need to guarantee health care to all people as a human right, you can't sit out the election. You got to participate. So I hope we defy the experts and we see a very high turnout among younger people, and I hope people have the wisdom to vote for Kamala. So that's my speech. I'm sticking to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Sanders. We really appreciate it. I understand that now you're going to give us an opportunity. We can ask you some questions. Is that right?
Fire
Well, thank
away.
you. Thank you so much. Well, look, Senator Sanders, and I'm going to say this out to the audience. If you have a question for Senator Sanders, please feel free to put it in the chat. If we're able to pull it out, we'll go ahead and ask it. Senator Sanders, I'd like to start off by asking something that is near and dear to a lot of the folks that are watching today. Our community, a lot of communities across the website have been calling for a ceasefire and an end to Israel's actions in Gaza, and I understand you share this position as well. A lot of folks have been opposed to the Biden-Harris administration's military and financial support of Israel. We know that you've been opposed as well, but you're supporting the ticket. So we want to know, can you talk about why you're supporting her, given your opposition to the Gaza stance?
All right. That's a very important question. Thanks for asking. So let me back it up a little bit. A year ago, October 7th, Hamas, which is a terrible terrorist organization, waged a horrific attack against Israel, killed 1,200 innocent men, women, and children, took several hundred hostages. In my view, Israel, like any other country, had the right to defend itself against Hamas. But what it did not have the right to do is go to war against the entire Palestinian people. And that is what Israel, under a very right-wing government led by Prime Minister Netanyahu, that is what they have done. The result of that all-out war against the Palestinian people in Gaza has been killing 42,000 people out of a population of 2.2 million, 2/3 of whom are women, children, and the elderly. They have wounded, injured over 100,000, again, 2/3 women, children, and the elderly. They have destroyed the healthcare system in Gaza. They have bombed every university in Gaza, destroyed the infrastructure in Gaza, destroyed about 60% of the housing in Gaza, displaced people, driven them here, there, and elsewhere. And now, as bad as that is, what is even worse, as a result of Israel under Netanyahu blocking humanitarian aid, today we're looking at thousands and thousands of children suffering from malnutrition and facing starvation. Now, as it happens, that is grossly immoral, unacceptable, and it is against the law. The United States of America, by law, cannot be funding a government which is denying humanitarian aid to civilians. So what we are doing right now is illegal in my view. And that's why, I have fought against financial aid, military aid to the Israeli government for offensive weapons. They have a right to defend themselves for offensive weapons. And why, when Congress reconvenes after the election, I will have the resolution, it's called a joint resolution of disapproval, where we will have a vote to deny Israel being able to buy U.S. Military equipment. So, I agree very much with people who are terribly concerned about what's going on there. Now, the Biden administration, I was just with the president today. I think on domestic issues, he has been very, very strong. I think on this issue, he is dead wrong. And I have talked to him over and over again. But all I would say to people say, well, I can't vote for Harris because I disagree with her on Israel and Gaza. Trump on even this issue is worse. He is worse. He is more pro-Netanyahu than Biden and Harris are. When it comes to humanitarian aid, feeding starving children, we can't get any Republican support in the United States Senate. So if we elect Harris, what you have my word on is I'm going to do everything I can to turn that view around. We do not need to be providing more offensive military aid to Israel, but we got a better chance to do it under Kamala Harris than under Donald Trump.
Thank you, Senator Sanders, for your answer. That provided a lot of clarity. I'd like to move into something that affects a lot of Americans, and it's minimum wage. And you and I both know that the minimum wage has not been increased, the federal minimum wage has not been increased in quite some time. Can you talk about how improving or increasing the minimum wage would help improve people's lives?
Well, Austin, that's a very, very good question. And I want everybody to hear this because it's not talked about terribly much in the corporate media. But the reality is today we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of this country. People on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60 million people are living paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. I think many of your viewers are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay the rent, to pay for food, to pay for healthcare. And it is an extremely stressful life. In the midst of that, as you have indicated, the minimum wage has not been raised for a very, very long time. And today it is an embarrassingly low $7.25 an hour. What we have got to do, among many other things, is raise the minimum wage to a living wage. Okay, and I've introduced the legislation in the Senate to do that. In my own perspective, my own view, is that minimum wage should be at least $17 an hour. Because you have now, it's not that you have so many people working for $7.25 an hour, but you have millions of people working for $9, $10, $12 an hour. And you tell me, whether you're in New York City or in rural America, you can't make it on $12 an hour. You just can't. So it seems to me that if people are going to work 40 hours a week, they should not be living in poverty. Now, the difference here, you may have seen the other day, Donald Trump was in McDonald's doing what he was doing,
Yes.
flipping hamburgers or whatever he was doing.
Yep.
And a reporter said to him, Mr. Trump, what's your view on the minimum wage? And then he completely ducked the question because he doesn't believe in raising the minimum wage. He talked about how great McDonald's workers are. Truth is, you got thousands of McDonald's workers and millions of other workers trying to get by 12, 13, 14 bucks an hour. I believe we should raise the minimum wage to 17 bucks an hour. Kamala Harris believes that we should raise it to at least $15 an hour. If you raise it to 15 bucks an hour, not enough for me, but a good start, we can can help the lives of millions and millions of working people. Trump does not believe we should raise the minimum wage. Kamala, 15 bucks an hour, at least, is what I think she said. So we're going to work on her to get it even higher than that. That's a real difference between the two candidates.
Thank you, Senator Sanders, for your answer. Right now, Senator, we have a YouTuber that's going to be a guest, and they'd like to ask you a question. Their name is Kamal Was Taken. Kamal, are you with us? There we are. There they are. Hey, Kamal, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Senator Sanders is here for you, and he's eager to answer your question.
Okay. Am I on camera?
You are. We see you perfectly.
Okay. Sorry.
No,
Hi,
you're good.
Senator Sanders. First off, thank you so much for doing this. My hand is literally shaking. I'm talking to a celebrity. Obviously, Donald Trump has a lot of weirdo billionaire backers. people like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Mr. Dark Maga himself. I have a lot of I have a lot of family who are strong Trump supporters, but also care deeply about things like Social Security. So, what would you tell my family to convince them that Trump's plans of all these tax cuts for billionaires, how would you convince them that this is actually not in their best interest?
When Trump was president, I think if he were on the show, he would tell you that his proudest achievement was the tax cuts that he implemented.
Right,
And they were huge. 83% of them went to the top 1%.
right.
Now, Kamal, I am guessing that your family, maybe I'm wrong, is probably not in the top 1%.
They're definitely not. The
Okay.
definition of middle class.
Okay. So we don't need, at a time when the rich are doing phenomenally well, more tax breaks for the rich. What do we need? We need to strengthen Social Security. I believe, that we should expand Social Security benefits. What I will tell you is that 80% of the Republicans in the House of Representatives think we should cut Social Security. They think we should move to the privatization of Medicare. So if you believe that we should keep Medicare and Social Security strong, I do not think it's wise to be voting for Donald Trump. If you think we should raise the minimum wage, you should not be voting for Trump. If you believe that health care is a human right, when Trump was president, he tried to end the Affordable Care Act. Now, I'm not a great fan of the Affordable Care Act, but it is providing health care to millions of Americans. I think we got to move to Medicare for all. But please tell your family that Trump's main concern is protecting the interest of the billionaire class. He could care less about the middle class.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I will relay the message. I hope it works.
Thanks very much, Jamal. Take care.
Thank you, Kamal. I appreciate it. Thank you, Senator Sanders. I believe we do have some other guests that are ready to ask some questions, but I'll ask a question here on a different topic, and it's one that you're very familiar with and you've been fighting for quite some time, and we collectively thank you for that. How do you feel about the current state of healthcare? Do you think do you think everyone has access to the care they need, or is more change necessary? I mean, I think we know the answer, but yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that question, because again, it is not discussed very much in the corporate media or in the halls of Congress. Under Obama, we passed the Affordable Care Act, which expanded coverage to a whole lot of people, and that's a good thing. But it doesn't get to the root of our problem right now. I don't know how many of the viewers know that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right. Do you all know that? I am right now in Burlington, Vermont, 50 miles away from the Canadian border. If you go up to Canada, a country very much like the United States, since the 1970s, they have had a system in which if you end up in the hospital for 2 weeks, you don't come out with a $100,000 bill or whatever. There is no bill. It is publicly funded. They spend half as much per person as we do. Because, let me ask you this. Anyone want to jump in? What is the function of the American healthcare system? Is it to provide quality care to all people? Or is it to make, what do you think it is, Austin?
I mean, I would assume it's a for-profit industry for health insurance companies.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And here's the result. The result is the pharmaceutical industry makes tens and tens of billions of dollars a year, charging us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Now, by the way, under Biden and Harris, and I just did an event with the president in Concord, New Hampshire today, we have made some progress in lowering the cost of prescription drugs, made some real progress. But we still pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Our system is designed to make profits not only for the drug companies, but the insurance companies as well. That's what the system is about, and it's working. But meanwhile, we have 85 million people uninsured or underinsured, and I suspect many of the viewers today may have health insurance, but they have deductibles of $5,000, $10,000, and they can't afford to go to the doctor because they don't have the money to pay out of pocket. So the bottom line here is the current system is broken. It is dysfunctional. It is cruel. 60,000 people a year die because they don't get to a doctor when they should. So my own view is we should look at the rest of the industrialized world. They manage to guarantee healthcare to all as a human right. We should do the same. I'm leading the effort on what we call Medicare for all, to expand Medicare, not just to the elderly, but to every man, woman, and child in this country.
It's insane to me that we live in the United States of America. This is a state of our healthcare. I went to an emergency room, Senator Sanders, in Florida, had a minor procedure done, $10,000 bill, surprise medical bill. It happens to folks, I'm sure, every single day. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Austin, you know what the story is?
Mm.
You say that, and people say, "Oh my God, I don't feel well. I need to go to the emergency room." I'm not
Yes.
going to go to the emergency room.
Yes.
I'm not even going to get in an ambulance because it could cost me a couple of $1,000. It
Yes.
is an insane system. It
Yes.
is a cruel. Give you one other fact on this. You're getting me going here. We go
No,
on to a few
it's
hours.
okay. It's okay.
All right. I want you to hear this. You know, somebody comes down with cancer. Think about it. You're fighting for your life. You don't know if you're going to live or not. Turns out that 25% of the people who have cancer treatment, have had cancer treatment, either go bankrupt or deplete their family's financial resources. So you're struggling with cancer, you're dealing with chemotherapy, you don't know whether you're going to live or die, blah, 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 blah. And then you got to worry about whether your family is going to be financially ruined. For what? Because you came down with a terrible disease. It is vulgar, it is disgusting, it is not worthy of the wealthiest nation on earth. So, you know, you got Trump out there who, when he was president, tried to kill the Affordable Care Act, make a bad situation worse. Kamala is going to protect that, at least. She's going to lower the cost of prescription drugs, major problem. But overall, we have got to continue the effort to make sure that every man, woman, and child in this country has health care as a human right, and not a system which simply allows for huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies.
Senator Sanders, thank you so much. We have another guest here to ask, I believe, one final question for you. His name is Mark Hamill. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. We're all huge fans. And I understand you have a question for Senator Sanders.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a great honor to meet Senator Sanders, someone who I've followed all my adult life, and I'm grateful for his service. Now, when it comes to the question, I'm sure we all saw the stunt that Trump pulled yesterday at a closed restaurant with people hired to play customers and work at McDonald's. I noticed when he was asked whether they should raise the minimum wage in regards to workers like that in fast food restaurants, he avoided the question entirely. He didn't even attempt to answer it. Now, the minimum wage hasn't been raised in decades. You probably know better than I think, maybe 2000.
Oh, I do. Yep.
Okay, well, basically, I just want to hear your thoughts on all that I just put forward.
Okay, you know, very briefly, we talked about it a moment ago, but bottom line is you're quite right, Mark. Trump ducked the issue, despite the fact that there are thousands of McDonald's workers trying to get by on 12 or 13 bucks an hour and millions of American workers. All right, Trump does not believe that we should raise the federal minimum wage, which is now $7.25 an hour. That's horrific. Kamala Harris believes that we should raise it to at least $15 an hour, which means that many millions of workers will get a substantial pay raise. So it is a very, very important issue, and one that, you know, I feel passionately about. I happen to believe the minimum wage should be at least 17 bucks an hour. Kamala thinks at least 15. We will discuss that, but at least we have got to raise that to a livable wage and not have Trump's position that leaves it at 7.25.
Thank you. And I personally worked at McDonald's. I've never put it on my resume, but it was interesting because when I first worked at McDonald's, I was living at home, and it was just pure profit. Fast forward to working at Jack in the Box when I was in my first year of college, and I couldn't live on that then. That was 50 years ago. So
That's right.
it's just
And people can't.
imagine.
And by the way, they can't if they don't get the health insurance they get is pathetic as well.
Exactly.
No, look, it's an embarrassment that you have a so-called billionaire like Trump who doesn't think that we should raise the minimum wage above 7.25 an hour. All right, with that, Austin, I think I'm going to have to run.
Yeah, sure.
Listen, thank you all very much for what you're doing, guys. This is an enormously important election. Let's get everybody out to vote. Let's win this thing for Kamala. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
Bernie.
Senator
Nice
Sanders,
meeting
for
you.
your
It was
time.
nice to meet you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Senator. Thank you. Well, that was amazing. Mark, do you have
Oh
a
my
few
God, I
moments
miss
to
him.
sit and chat with us?
Sure. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Hi, Mark.
Well, Mark, is this your first time on Twitch?
I think so.
Well, welcome. Give him a round of applause. There's a lot of people
Hello.
watching right now.
So,
Do you play Fortnite by any chance?
What?
no, I'm going to go do a fundraiser for Democrats
That's
with
amazing.
gamers, and I have to tell them in advance.
We love you.
I haven't played games since my kids were small. So
Aww.
I know. It's terrible, but I mean, it's the same with Star Wars. I haven't seen those movies since they first came out. I don't go back and watch them again.
Yeah.
These people will come up to me and ask me these questions, and they've seen those movies far more times than I have, far more recently than I have. And they play the games, they read the comics, they read the novels. You know, one guy was saying to me, when you went to the Wookiees' home planet, I said, wait a minute, did we go to the Wookiees' home planet? Well, it wasn't in a movie, it was in Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Oh, it's a novel by Harry Dean Foster. Again, I mean, I disappoint fans because they know more about it than I do.
No, you're never a disappointment. Also, if you ever want to learn, it would be easy. So just know it's always at your disposal, you know?
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Oh.
Mark, again, it's amazing. So you're doing a fundraiser. Where are you doing the fundraiser at?
Well, I've been accepting any Zoom
Sure.
that they request. So I've done it for Colin Allred and Ruben Gallego and Gloria Johnson, Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, Josh Stein, Whitney Fox, and on and on and on and on and on. Because I feel like that's the least I can do. I mean, I can't always travel to the state, but I can certainly come in the dining room and give them a couple of hours on my computer. So
Sure.
I don't know. It's coming up. My wife's not here right now, but she'll remind me. It's, I think, this coming week. But
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Mark, look, I know, I know your time is precious. I just want to ask you just a couple of quick questions. You know, obviously, we're all here for the same reason. We want to get people out to vote for Kamala Harris. What policy issue is really driving you to the polls? What's something that's really most important to you?
Well, first of all, I just want to compliment the names of these people, Valkyrie and Pokimane. Is that your?
Oh, yeah, these are
It is an
usernames.
absolute honor to
What
hear
about
you
that?
utter that name. Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir.
Nice to meet you.
Do I need to pay you for that? Because I will.
Wow. I got like
That's
jump
not the
scared.
name- That's not the name
Oh.
on your birth certificate,
No,
right?
no. It's
No.
just a username.
Austin's show is on my birth certificate.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Very good.
He was born to be a star, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
there's the one main issue for me is preserving democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes, sir.
it's democracy versus autocracy. He tells you what he's going to do. I mean, Google Project 2025 is absolutely horrifying. Getting rid of the Department of Education and firing 50,000 civil servants who are nonpartisan to install loyalists. It's weird. I mean,
It's weird. Yes.
well, there's a reason he admires Viktor Orban, because he wants to do what Viktor Orban did, which was get elected democratically, then disassemble the media and put loyalists in across the board and transform into a dictator. It's really scary. You know, the stakes are just couldn't be higher. And, I have a good feeling about this because I do believe there are more good, decent people that realize what a charlatan and a villain he is. Probably the worst thing that's ever happened to this country was electing this game show host with no, when he first got in, I thought, because I lived in New York when I was doing theater for 17 years, and I said, well, he has no moral convictions about anything.
No.
He could surprise us and be really good on climate change, or no. Once he realized that, it's the way he got into politics. When he started pushing the birther lies about Obama not being
Mm.
born in America, he got a great reaction. So he realized the easiest path to success is through these extremists who are and appealing to all the darkest elements in human nature: anger, resentment, racism. Big. Let's figure. I mean,
Mhm.
the Obama lie is birtherism. He's just vile in every respect.
Yes. Yes.
I actually have a question, if that's okay.
Go ahead, Pokey.
Sure.
As you said, there are so many issues at stake right now, and I actually wanted to ask this to Bernie as well, but since he had to run, I'll ask you instead. Are there any resources that you could recommend for voters who want to get more informed? Anything you suggest?
Well, the simplest thing, and I always tell my kids to tell their kids to tell their friends to tell their friends, iwillvote.com. It's so simple. You go to iwillvote.com, and within 60 seconds, you can be registered. You can figure out where you can go to physically vote, how to get mail-in ballots. That's one of the easiest ways to get knowledgeable about that.
Austin, I think that's a good question for you too, because I feel like, over the last 48 hours, all of this coming together, I've come to learn how much you know. Like, you're so knowledgeable on politics.
Me? You talking to me?
Yeah. Are there any resources you would suggest for people as well?
Look, I mean, I think it's important to understand, in social media is a nightmare. Mark, I don't know if you're on social media. It is crazy. It's chaotic. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm on Twitter, which
Uh-huh.
I do myself, and
Sure.
then my daughter Chelsea repurposes my Twitter for Instagram.
Sure.
I quit Facebook
That's so
in
nice of her.
protest. I quit Facebook in 2016 in protest of the way they handled
Yep.
Hillary. It just pissed me off. I mean,
Yep.
obviously no one cares, but I'm looking for I loathe Elon Musk so much now.
Oh,
I'm
me too.
looking for a reason to get off Twitter,
Yeah.
and if I
All of
do,
us are. Yeah.
yeah, well, if I get off Twitter, I'm not going to do social media anymore.
Well, no, yeah, we're all looking for an escape
Yeah.
from X or whatever they call it now. I still call it Twitter. But
Everyone calls it Twitter. Everyone calls it Twitter.
Exactly.
As I tweeted, I said, what if he bought Coca-Cola and decided to call it Flurbu Goo Goo Goo? No one would call it Flurbu
No.
Goo Goo. They call it Coke.
And
Exactly.
we still
Always.
don't. We still
That was
don't.
the
Tell
first
them.
idiotic thing he did was try and
No.
change things. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We tweet. We don't excrete.
Yeah, no, he made it sound like a whole different website when he made that change. And look, what I was going to say about Twitter, Mark, and you could probably attest to this, and all of us can attest to this since you're on it, is my advice to people would be, you're stuck in an algorithm, okay? You're stuck in an algorithm, and often you're stuck in a feedback loop of sometimes a lot of negative information, all right? It's not a real place. So my advice to people would be, number one, put your head down. Don't let it stress you out on day to day, and get out and vote. I mean, you have the privilege to get out and vote, and that's why we're here. ! Vote in the chat. There's a lot of resources there to help guide you. It's really important, but because I've been really stressed out. I think a lot of us are stressed out in this election cycle in particular because of what's at stake. And I've found comfort in just understanding that I have a good feeling about this. We've got. I agree with you, Mark. There's a lot of decent people, and I think it represents a large majority in this country that are going to go out and vote for this ticket. And I think that we've got a great opportunity to win.
Well, the fact that he could even be renominated after January 6th just blows my mind.
I know.
It's just the list of crimes he's committed, the stolen documents, the fake electors, and on and on and on. We don't need to go through it all, but I'm old enough to remember when Gary Hart's campaign was upended because he was sitting. There was a photo with him sitting with a woman who wasn't his wife sitting on his lap. This guy. We can't find his kryptonite because whatever he does, there is no more Republican Party. Let's be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's an extremist MAGA cult of personality. They
Yep.
believe whatever he says, no matter what. I mean, it's laughable when he's up in arms over Kamala lying about
Oh, yeah.
working at McDonald's. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The Washington Post said he lied 33,000 plus times just 4 years in office. God knows how many times he's lied since then. I mean, everything that comes out of his mouth, basically.
Yep. Yeah. No. Everything. And it's crazy. And you mentioned the old Republican Party, which, you know, there's still a lot of problems with the old Republican Party, but this was a party that would talk often about decency. This is a party that when Obama was president, they would criticize him for wearing a tan suit. Okay.
Yeah.
You remember this? He shows up in a tan suit to a press conference. And this is the same Republican Party that doesn't bat an eye when Trump gets on his podium and talks about Arnold Palmer's penis. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it's insane. It's ludicrous.
Now, the enablers are shocking. Franklin Graham, they printed his quote about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky side by side with what he said about Trump. And of course, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. One is, this is outrageous that he would lie to his wife. If he would lie to his wife, why wouldn't he lie to the public? That's, you know. And then Trump, he marches to his own drummer. It's his own private life. We shouldn't be concerned with what he does in private. And they're all hypocrites. I mean, the one thing that's interesting is the amazing amount of Republicans who put country over party. I mean, the obvious one, like the Cheneys and Adam Kinzinger and so forth. But I mean, Kamala had an event the other day where there were over 100 Republicans. I mean, the problem is most Republicans in office probably loathe them as much as we do, but they're indebted to their districts. I mean, if they're in districts that support them, they can't publicly say that. But I have a feeling, I mean, I said this look what happened in the midterms in 2022. There's going to be a huge red wave.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're going to gain 40 seats. When they overturned Dobbs, it wasn't even a red trickle. It was, I think they gained 2 seats when they were expecting 40. And I think they've unleashed, awoken a sleeping giant. When you take away a right that a woman has had for over 50 years to have control over her own body without the government telling her what to do, it's an outrage. And I think that's what they're not polling, because apparently there was, after Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish and all these people, there was something like almost a million, like 800,000 plus new registered women between the ages of 18 and 35. And none of them were polled because they only polled people that voted in the last election. That's why I don't like saying this, because I don't want people to get complacent. I think she's going to beat him by a bigger margin than Biden did. And Biden beat him by 7 million. Don't get me started on the Electoral College. If it weren't for the Electoral College, Gore beat W by 500,000 votes. Hillary beat him by nearly 3 million, like 2,875,000, whatever. I loathe the Electoral College just because in my lifetime, if it weren't for W, we wouldn't have had the war in Iraq that they lied us into. And look at the history of the Electoral College. It was created in the Civil War to give slave owners more say in the elections. So it's rooted in the worst elements of American history. So I'd love to get rid of the Electoral College and Citizens United, which they passed in 2020, that ruled that corporations are people, so they can give unlimited funds. I mean, our politics were already corrupted by money before that. Now you can have a handful of billionaires that can give unlimited money. It's disgraceful. And I made those, you know, I lived in England a long time making those space movies. And I was there during an election of prime minister. You know how they do it? It's 6 weeks from start to finish. The government gives each candidate the same amount of money to spend, and you're not allowed to have outside money. It is breathtaking because it's so pure. It's so pure, and they don't have the barrage of TV commercials. It's just not the same as here, but it's all issues oriented, and it's over in a month and a half.
Mm.
Come on. As soon as whoever gets elected on November 5th, the campaign for 2028 starts the next day.
Mm.
It's repulsive.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, and thank you for sharing that. I think that's very useful information for a lot of us that we all agree with. Look, I was gonna mention something that you said, and it kind of went back to what I said earlier. The polling is all over the place. I mean, it's all over the place. And if you really look at, you mentioned something that's really important. They don't know. They're all, because they're so afraid. A lot of these pollsters are so afraid with what they did in 2016 that I believe that they're overestimating a lot of things. Which evidence of that would be what happened in the 2022 midterms, where there was supposed to be this huge red wave, and it never ever materialized.
Yeah. Well, has anybody? I've never been polled by anyone, and I'm 73.
Yeah.
In all
Yeah,
those
no,
years, no one's
neither
ever
have I.
called. Okay,
And
and
I'm
if
30.
if I get a phone call on my phone that I don't recognize, I don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Ever.
No,
So,
me
I
neither.
mean-
And yeah.
I
Do
mean,
you guys? Yeah.
ask your friend. Look, the media.
No,
has
me
a
neither.
Yeah.
The media has a vested interest in making it a horse race, because then we're addicted to whatever, whether CNN or MSNBC or Fox propaganda station. They want a tight race because that gets eyeballs. So I don't pay attention to the polls. I think it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
Don't believe them.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's not going to help anybody win. What wins elections are people that go out and vote, and real
Exactly.
data that show. I mean, and like I said, I don't know if you've dug into the early data too much, but it looks promising. I'd rather be us than them. Let's just say that at this point in the election, it does look very good. Okay, I want to open it up to. I know. I think we're gonna let you go, Mark. We appreciate you've been here for quite some time with us, and we appreciate it. Is there any last questions that you guys would like to ask Mark on the way out?
Yeah, listen, I'm not in a rush. I'll take whatever
I got
question you
one
want. I'm going to adjust
unrelated.
my light here. I look too
Yeah,
bright.
sure. No, you're great.
Oh, he's changing his light. Oh my God, look,
What'd you
little
say,
Mika.
Sykkuno? Oh yeah, he's
I
back
got a
there.
question
Oh,
unrelated to,
he's- puking.
He is?
He's throwing up.
Oh, Mr. Mark,
No, he's
Yes.
adjusting his
do you
lighting.
know what a VTuber is?
A VTuber?
Uh-huh.
No, but I'm guessing V stands for video, so it must have to do with gaming.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
close.
kind of like that.
I thought it was
Was just
virtual.
curious.
Well,
Oh, well, you should tell him, Sykkuno. A VTuber is this character that you see, the guy with the
That's
black
funny.
hair. He's moving his head and talking a little and blinking. So it's
Okay.
like a person, and you capture their facial movements, and then you put a character on top. So instead of
Okay.
showing your face, you can show the little character.
Yes, like Sykkuno, who looks like a cat.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, like
Oh my
Sykkuno
God,
who
yeah,
looks like a
that's
cat.
me.
Exactly that.
Sykkuno the cat.
Yeah, it's like go to the cat.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, I do have okay. So I've been Mark. I know this isn't related to the we'll get back on topic here, but I have to ask you this question. My friend Will Neff is a huge fan, and he's also a big time Twitch streamer. When are we gonna get to hear you voice the Joker again?
Well, what happened was Kevin Conroy passed away, and he was my Batman since we started, 92, 93. And, there were dormant periods where we didn't. Then we came back and did the Arkham Asylum games. By the way, each one of those games made more than $1 billion. I mean, it's shocking, but I mean, I wish I had movies that all did that. We did those three, and I just loved him so deeply, like a brother. I just figured, the gods are telling me something.
Mm.
It was my Batman, and it's time to step down. So, I mean, to be honest with you, nobody's asked me to do it since, but maybe it's because when I tweeted about Kevin's passing, I just said that, without, as Joker once said, without Batman, crime has no punchline.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was good.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
That was
I
awesome.
That was
sort of feel
awesome.
like maybe that's a good time to leave.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. That
So
was
nice
Yeah.
to meet you, Mark.
Mark,
Take
thank
care.
you so much for your
Okay.
time. And
Thanks,
we
everyone.
we appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great
My
evening.
pleasure. Now get out there and vote like Bernie
Yep.
said.
That's right. We're going to do it. Thank you, Mark. Take care.
Okay.
Wow. How cool
You
was
actually
that?
sounded like the Joker.
How cool was
You
that?
did
That
the
was,
thing.
that was awesome. How are you guys feeling?
Is there more? My dog is throwing up. I've
Oh, wait,
tech
he-
issues up the
I
hoo-ha.
do. I'm worried about your dog.
Yes, Mika. I saw him in the back there.
Yeah,
and I was like,
there's
is he all
Ray.
right?
vomit on the carpet.
Ray, when you
Yes.
said he was throwing up, I thought you were talking about Mark.
Wait, I was unmuted for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I was like, no, Ray, he's just adjusting his lighting.
Okay. No, this
No.
is fine. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's-
fine.
Oh,
I've
God.
accepted.
No,
This
no,
is
no,
the
it's-
fate.
God.
No, it's okay. I don't think he heard you because he walked away from his
He was
setup.
away. Okay. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Yeah.
No, but look, folks, we're here for a very, very important reason. We all encourage you to go out and vote. Okay, you can do so by exclamation point vote to check your status to see where you're at. Make sure you're
Vote.org, right?
registered. Yep, vote.org.
Vote.org.
Yep. Go ahead and get out there and vote. You can follow the link with the command in the chat, exclamation point vote. That'll check your registration to vote, and it'll help us take action to elect Kamala Harris for president, the first woman president, which would be incredible. It's about damn time, ladies. Am I right?
Selfishly, I would love that.
Selfishly, I also would like that.
I just
Not
want
just
my
a woman,
rights.
but a woman of color. Like,
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another special surprise guest that I'm excited to talk to.
wait, really?
Yeah, his name is Mark Cuban. And he's sitting here on standby. We're going to welcome him into the stream, and we're going to have an opportunity.
Discord.
Yeah, he's in Discord
Bro.
right now. And we also have another gentleman by the name of Hank Green, who is sitting here
Oh,
right
let's
now
go.
in
Oh, yeah,
Discord
they're
on
waiting.
camera, ready to go. We're going to introduce them to the stream right now. I've got them on video. They should, well, I think you guys have to turn it on one more time. There we go. There's Mark Cuban and Hank Green. Gentlemen, welcome to this. Welcome to the broadcast. How are you guys doing?
What
I'm
up?
great.
Look at y'all.
Hello.
Big time.
Well,
Nice to meet you.
welcome again. Let us introduce ourselves because you may not know who we are. My name is Austin Show. I'm a Twitch streamer. Pokey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Pokey. I'm also a Twitch streamer, content creator. I have a question for you later, Mark. Oh my God, I think we're mutuals on Twitter. Bestie. Anyways.
And Sykkuno, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Sykkuno. I usually use a camera, but I've been sick with a skin problem, so I'm using this virtual avatar. Do you guys know what a VTuber is?
I do, but I also really enjoyed you
do?
explaining it to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, that was
Oh my
funny.
God.
I enjoyed
I
him
tried.
asking, do you know? And then not explaining. Not explaining at all.
I'm gonna
And then
be
I have
honest,
to
I don't
explain
even
every
know.
time.
I just kind of ask. Well, I'm Sykkuno. Great to meet you. And Mark, this is completely random, but I know you do this medicine thing, and my sister buys from, I think it's your website all the time, and it saves her a lot.
That's so cool.
I think you do a lot of good stuff.
Hospitalsdrugs.com. Check it out.
Yeah. And,
I already do.
And Ray, last but not least, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Valkyrie. It's so nice to meet you guys. This is crazy.
So guys, well, first, thanks again for joining us here on Twitch. You guys have been on Twitch before, right?
Yeah. You want to hear my Twitch story? Well, want to hear my Twitch story?
I'd love to.
Remember, Twitch started as Justin
Please.
TV.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, you know the lore.
Way back when. So